Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you wanna give them love, then give them some more. Come on.
Give them more if they want some. Give them more if you want to. Give them more if they want some. Give them more if you want to. Give them more if they want some. Give them more if you want to.
Come on.
Give them more if they want some. Give them more if you
Give them more.
What is going on? It's your favorite host doing the most, eating all of the boast. It's Mo Manifest tuning in. And as always, welcome back to Give 'em Mo Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, your producer, your creator, the writer, the videographer, the everything. Right now I currently put everything together by myself. So sometimes I do get a little draining. But like I said, we're back on a therapeutic Thursday. That's what we're going to call it moving forward, because we come on Thursday and sometimes I feel like these are like personal therapy sessions. A lot of the information I give is mostly from personal experience or people I may know or things I may run across that I don't mind sharing. At this point, pretty much an open book. Everything's been good with me, just busy. New baby. Well, she ain't so new no more. She almost 1, which is crazy, right? But being married, life, owning the business, trying to be a content creator. I removed myself from social media, so I ain't been on social media in a couple months. Outside of YouTube, and I don't really consider YouTube social media. But today, for one, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment to help the growth of the channel. Since I'm go missing so much, I pretty much stunted the growth of my channel. The algorithm don't like us, but we're gonna keep going anyway and see what happens. I do this for fun. Sometimes I have my moments where mentally I just don't want to do it, but it's just about coming and doing it and then making it happen. And every time I do it, I'll be a little bit more surprised about what I may have picked on or how different it may be each time I redo it. But all of these episodes are authentic. They normally just come to me as I'm going. Today, we're going to talk about patterns and cycles because a lot of times in life, a lot of us don't grow or we level out or we climax because there's a lot of cycles or patterns that we have to address or we have to change. And the beautiful thing about it is these things do not move out of our way until we address them and handle them. We can't run from them. If every spring you run into these type of situations, 9 times out of 10, you're going to keep running into these situations until you see the pattern. The beautiful thing about patterns is even if I point them out for you, if you don't do nothing with it and then you just go with the flow and put yourself in positions, it does not work unless you address it and you acknowledge it. A lot of times, like I said, one of the patterns I noticed about myself that was unhealthy was that, you wake up in the morning and you so caught up in social media and life because after a while, these things become a big part of your life. It's kind of a virtual escape. And then you wake up. I will wake up and before I did anything, I'm on Instagram or something like I'm missing something. And it starts to play tricks on your mind because it's like, wow, like, am I really this? And that's what happened the last time. I might have woke up 2, 3 days in a row. And the first thing I did was get on Instagram and I was like, you know what? This is an unhealthy habit. In order for me to change this habit, because you cannot delete habits, you can only change them. And only way for me to change that habit to a healthy one was to just permanently eliminate it. I'm not really the type of person that, well, I can in moderation with like maybe dieting or something like that. But I'm more, and even with dieting, I learned that if it's just a diet, at some points it ends. You have to turn everything into a lifestyle. Nothing really can be moderate or just for the time being, for me at least. I'm not saying that certain things like you can't fast for 5 days or something like that. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that most of the things that we turn into a lifestyle, and most of the time we actually change our unhealthy habits and replace them with healthy ones, we see the biggest growth in life. I think a lot of us find disappointment when we may slip back or go backwards sometimes, but that's okay. Things happen. Life must move on. A lot of people be in really good positions in life, but because of their own expectations and their own patterns and their own cycles, they don't realize that's where the frustration comes from. Some may call it deja vu, you know. And we all know deja vu is the moments where you be like, I've been here before. A lot of times, like I said, we notice the cycles, we notice our unhealthy habits, and we know what we need to change to better ourselves. It's just about actually doing it. For some reason, and maybe that's just how the architect of this world, God, designed it, was for some reason, a lot of the things that aren't necessarily good for us feel so good, right? And I'm not saying they're bad things. It's just sometimes the escapes feel better in the moment. One of my biggest secrets to handling these patterns and cycles and these escapes was I didn't have escapes. You get into the minded people that always want to run away, always want to skip town, always want to avoid something, always want to take the path to least resistance. And those are generally going to be the people that get stuck in these things. But when you get into people who always want to work, always want to address the problem, don't avoid difficult conversations, don't take the path to least resistance, those are normally feared. I'm not going to say feared, but sometimes those people are looked at as like just being super strong figures. They can't be feared by someone who's not confident or understand what it's about because this person has such a strong ability to get through things. I would lean personally myself more towards a person who likes to get through things. One of the things my mama said is, I always say I'll figure it out. And let me tell you why I always say it's figure it out. Because I truly believe in my faith. That's a whole nother thing that we can talk about, that faith without belief is nothing. I'm sorry. Faith without belief is no different than the boy who cried wolf. It's easy for you to sit in front of somebody and say, oh, I know it's going to work out, this and that. It's a whole nother thing for you to believe it. It's a whole nother thing for you to not even have a direct answer and look somebody in the face and say, I'm going to be okay either way. Because you have to trust in your resilience. And normally you have to become battle hardened and go through some things to even get to that point. I tell people nowadays, I feel like I have a callus on my brain. When you work out or do something, you get these, I think they call callus right here. And over time, the more you pull or the more you bust them, the stronger they get. That's how I feel like I have a callus over my brain. Of course, it's a skull, but the way I used to react to things, I just don't got time no more. Even in business, lately I've been running into a lot of situations with employees thinking that they run the show, you know, thinking that you can manipulate information and tell me one thing as if I'm not aware of what's going on, as if I don't have my brother working there and I don't have trusted people working for my company, as if I don't live 10 minutes down the road and around the corner. Yes, I may be with my daughter, I may be working remote most of the time, but I'm 10 minutes down the road and I have trusted people in place to verify. And then if I have to look into something, normally I trust what the people are telling me, so I really don't have to look into it, but I do it anyway because we trust but verify. See, I noticed one of my patterns was that I overreacted to a lot of things. And then you put yourself in these bad situations and you put all this energy out. I'm not saying that I have it mastered, but I am saying that I'm a lot better than what I used to be. I'm a lot better today than I was yesterday. A lot of my cycles have been broken. Well, guess what? It's time for new ones. And here's the fun part: we can replace what we call the negative things with positive things. I'm not saying patterns and cycles are bad. I'm only saying it's bad if you feel like you're not getting out of life what you feel like you deserve. If you feel like you need extra money, but you're not doing nothing to make extra money, where's the pattern in that? Because I can guarantee you, if you look back around the same time last year or the year before, you was in the same position. And I found myself in the same position for years. You pay your bills, you don't have enough money left over. And then we got another misconception that I want to speak on is people think that just because they don't have enough money, that starting a business is the key. Let me be the first to tell you that that is a huge mistake. There's a difference between employees, managers, business owners, hustlers, and entrepreneurs. And the funny part about the entrepreneur is that person normally can embody all of those things and do it at a high level. So, what's the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a person that goes out and seeks more business, a person that putting systems in place, get their stuff up and running, and move on to the next thing so they can start building on other systems and having more complexities to keep it going. A business owner is someone who runs a business with the intent of having their hand in a lot of the things and the day to day. And it's more or less like the entrepreneur should play an overseer role, while the business owner should be more involved. The entrepreneur has the ability of the business owner, but once your mind advances past that point of just wanting to sit here and you move on and you want to start monopolizing and doing more, you're moving on to entrepreneurship. The misconception is most people feel like that owning a business is going to give them this phantom time to just go on vacations and at some point not work no more. Not true, depending on what you do. I'm not gonna say it's not true totally. It's some people out here doing some amazing things, but that comes dime a dozen. No, that comes one in a million. Dime a dozen, that's like a 10% chance. The chances of you doing something that's so extravagant that you ain't gotta work no more is small. But we can find happiness in the work. Because I'll be the first to tell you, if I got everything to the point where I wasn't needed, then I don't think I would truly be happy. Now some people may say that's a little contradiction to what you said. I am an entrepreneur, but still, to an extent, I don't want to become too far removed from the work, if you get what I'm saying. And then pretty much in any business that I start, at some point, I want to feel like I know what it's like to do the job of the person that's lowest on the totem pole. At least have a basic understanding, because once we lose track of that, we're gone. I'm sorry, I kind of gave my business lesson. But like I said, once I noticed my patterns, once I noticed my cycles, my brain, it changed. The way I filter information and the way I let stuff process through my brain, it changed. Stuff don't bother me as much as it used to. I just want to be successful within that capacity. But I'm telling you that success is on the other side of a mind switch. And like I said, I don't want this to be too serious. I want it to be more therapeutic. If I am somehow speaking to you in a way, leave a comment. Tell me how you feel. Tell me how you see your patterns and your cycles. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it in between? Is it something that you think you can get by? And the reason why, like I said, all of this is important is because this is life. And this is why people feel like life is just a simulation. Because to a degree, it can be. You can live a life that's so repeated that it feels like it's just a simulation. Or you can live a life where you master your patterns, your cycles, your habits, your mind, figure out what you truly want to do, and figure out how to accomplish that and work effortlessly to get that. A lot of time go by. I'm not telling people that going on vacations and that stuff is not important. Because if you're that type of person, by all means, do what you got to do. But I am telling you that from my perspective, if you're not putting in the work and you're complaining, and work can be done, and you're making excuses not to go get it, successful people will stop listening to you. I have lost, I have shedded a lot of friends. I'm not going to say lost because sometimes we just outgrow each other and sometimes we can meet at new levels. I have shedded a lot of friends because the mindset is just not the same. I become bogged, when you believe in people, you hang on to the potential word, and we'll address that in a later episode. But all I'm really saying is that you have to go get it to be successful, and you have to know what's holding you back. And I guarantee you, a lot of the things that's holding you back is within your patterns, your habits, and your cycles. Thank you guys for tuning in to Therapeutic Thursdays. As always, I'm your host, Mo Manifest, your producer, proprietor, uh, writer, videographer, editor, a little bit of everything. Hope you guys enjoyed this outro. If you didn't, please subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. God bless you.
Give 'em all if they want some. Give 'em all if you